Hey guys, how are y'all? I am looking to see if you can hear me, see me, say hi, say where you're from. You never know. Somebody with you, near you may be doing the same thing you are, and you have something in common. So there weren't a lot of questions today. Y'all are going to have to pipe in and pop some in. There were a couple. One of them was about stickers. Okay, so here's the thing. Hey Lawrence, how are you today? I don't have any sticker paper. And in order to do stickers, I kind of have to print something out to go back with it. So thanks, Sharon, for letting me know you can hear me. Um, that, it's so to where I could scan it back in. But I did find some stickers that I could download from Creative Fabrica, and those I can take through Canvas Workspace, and I can show you what I would do there. And depending on whether you have enhanced image trace or not will depend on how you do things. So I can show you that way. Well, tell Anne I'm sorry that she couldn't join us today. So I can show you that way. And then in a couple of weeks, when I'm back in my studio and I have time to set up a camera and the scan and cut over here, then I'll do that. I'm in the middle of projects this week, and I'm getting ready to go to my dad's. So I'm trying to get some stuff stitched out so that I can make something while I'm gone to be a little productive. But I've got to get the embroidery part of it done before I can put it together. So that's where I'm at right now. And I had to finish getting some samples out for brother last week. So it's been kind of a crazy 2 weeks. So let's see here. And I'll start with stickers, and then I'll show the offset insets in PEDESIGN that somebody asked that question about. So let's go to Canvas Workspace first. And Linda, good to see you. And so we'll go to Canvas Workspace first, and I'll show you an idea, a way that you can do this, which is kind of nice. I would prefer to do it this way, but I will tell you, I would probably scan from Canvas Workspace, from scan to Canvas Workspace on the scan and cut. So if I were going in here, I would import from my cutting machine and I would choose scanned image. So that's how I would do it. So when I send it back, it will be in the same place. So that's personally how I would do it, so that I would know that everything's where it needs to be. But if you're not doing it that route, you can always lay these down over the top of where you're at. So if you click on your image tracing and you choose an image from the computer. So this is a set of stickers that I downloaded. Okay. Now, there are 2 ways that you can go about this. So let's say I click this one, and let's do the first one. We'll open that guy right there. So here he is. And it's identified areas, but I mean, it's identified the pieces part. So we'll go with this one first. Actually, let's not go with this one first. Let me show you the easy way. If you happen to have enhanced image tracing, when you click that little button right there, you'll notice it grabs around the entire exterior of it. And that is really the easiest route to go. So now if you look in your layers menu, you have your shape and you have your image, and your shape is, want it to be slightly larger. Then you can go into your edit menu and choose the offset button. And you can change your offset to, let's say we want it to be 0.10. We just want it a little bit bigger, and we can go outward. So you'll notice how it creates that extra one, and then you can go back into your layers menu and delete this first one. So I would ungroup this, and then I would delete that one. So now I have that offset to where you can see the little gray things around it. Then that could be sent. So enhanced image tracing was a kit that you could have purchased. I don't think it's available any longer. That's why I'm saying if you happen to have it, you can do that. If you don't have that, then you have to do a couple of more steps, but it's still doable. So I can open that image. I'll leave it trace outer edge only and say OK. So now I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to hide the image. What I can do now is grab the whole kit and caboodle and go to the edit menu and choose offset. I can have it go outward. This time I need it to go a little bit further because we're going to try to make it go around everything. So let's see if we do that right there. Okay. So now let's go and hide. Let's go grab the parts that we just pulled apart. It should be all of these things right here, and go to our edit menu again. And then let's weld those together. So now you've got that shape, that exterior shape. And I would basically take out the interior cut pieces. But before I do that, I would go to my offset menu again and change it to where it's going inward. And let's reduce that down to about half that space. So now that would be your cut file. And if you go back in and look, let's turn on our image file. You can see that. And we would just get rid of all of these other little cut pieces. So it's doable either way. It's just easier if you have enhanced image tracing. I would also tell you that you want to make sure it's the size you need it. So whatever size you scan it in is the size that you're going to be printing and cutting from. Okay. And what project am I creating? Well, I have this travel bag that I carry, and my travel bag zipper messed up. So, it's time for a new travel bag, basically. So what I'm doing, let's see if I can, I stopped it in the middle of stitching. I'm embroidering basically on black denim with red and white polka dots on the center, and I'm embroidering decorative fills. So I'll show you what I'm doing here, kind of give you an idea. So I'm doing 4 across, and I'm doing each of the different decorative fills. And I've basically taken my 10 needle 8 by 14 inch frame, and I've created 2 of them so that I can have that little split line so that I can get 24 inches across basically. So these are about 6 inches, maybe a little bit more than 6 inches. And I did matrix copy. And so I'm basically going in and changing out each time the different decorative fills so that I can have the different decorative fills come from it. And after I get that, then on the side panels, I think I'm going to have, what am I going to do on the side panels? Oh, I think I'm going to do the motifs on the side panels. And then for my pockets, I think I'm going to take like the centers of, let's say I wanted this one right here. Let me come here and grab, let's say I just want a dress form. So if I just want the dress form, I would go to shapes and I would convert region to line. And then I can get rid of everything besides, let's see here, everything besides one basically center decorative fill. Come on, get rid of it. Delete. Why is my keyboard not working? There we go. And there's another way I could go about this, but this is the route I'm going to take. And I'm just highlighting and deleting. Now I need to let's zoom in on that section. Let's go zoom to selected object. So now we can zoom right in on the selection and get exactly what we want. Get rid of my ribbons. Actually, split at point might be easier for that, but and these are triple stitch, so it takes a little bit to get rid of all of the little nodes. So, oops. Well, fiddle-dee-dee, I keep grabbing something else. And all I'm doing is deleting the node. So, I mean, you can use, this is another way to use your decorative fills. Or I could have brought in the motif that I made and just done one motif. But here we go. So now I'm down to my line. Basically, it's a line. And that's what I'm going to do on my pockets. So I'll just make that one bigger. And that's what I would do on my pockets. So the dress form is from my new decorative fill collection. So it is, I just released those last week. If you haven't seen that, hold on, let me go and pull up that image file. They are still on sale. There is still a coupon code, and I believe it is, hold on a second, let me find that. Here is your coupon code. So let me find these. Hold on just a second. I don't remember where I put them. There they are. Okay. It's opening up. Now, Cindy, they only work either on PEDESIGN or through the PEDESIGN 11 or through the Luminaire. So they gave us 2 ways for them to work, but these are what the new ones are. And that is something I'm thinking about doing, is making just rectangles of it. So those are the ones. So these are the new ones. Okay. So you can also, with PEDESIGN, if instead I didn't want to do it that way, although that was pretty easy, I could have come in here and grabbed a line, just made myself a little line. I'm going to hold my shift key down to get a straight line and change that to a motif. And there is a decorative fill in that collection, or excuse me, a motif stitch in that collection that is a dress form. So I could have grabbed just a single dress form and make it big. Oh, we want to maintain aspect ratio. Well, let's say we want it 6 inches. Or no, actually that's millimeters. So let's make it 100. So that's as big as you can make a motif, is 100 millimeters, but 3 across like that would be kind of cute too, I think. So that's kind of fun. All right, so let's see here. Let me answer the next question that came up first. I'm not saving that. So let me change back to a standard hoop size here. We'll go to a 4x4. And the question was how to do offsets. I don't remember if it was for letters or for shapes. I'll show you shapes first, and then I'll show letters. So we're in PEDESIGN 11. Oh, hello. I'm going to change that to a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to turn off the fill. Okay. Now, once you've got your shape and you've got your outline, you would go to create offset lines. And you choose the direction, outward or inward, and you choose your spacing, and you choose how many offsets you want. So if you wanted 3 going inward, you could have 3 going inward. That's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but you get the concept. If I wanted 1 going inward and preview it, that's probably better, and I don't need rounded corners at that point. The nice thing about offsets versus resizing, copying and pasting and making them go bigger is that it is going to actually follow your shape, and it's not going to distort the size. So that's the way it works. If you were going outward instead, you go outward, and you choose what you want for your spacing. So either way, you can go inward or outward, preview it, and then if you're happy with it, say okay. If you are doing text, however, let's say I'm doing A, B, C. And let's come here and find a block letter. So for this one, in order to make this work, you would have to convert to outline, okay? Otherwise, you do not see that inward and outward portion. After you've done that, you would ungroup, and then you can grab, let's see if we can do this at the same time. The parts of the A, select it, go to our shapes menu. Nope, got to do it one at a time. So our A, create offset lines. If you're going inward, now with letters, you can't go inward a whole lot because it won't work very well. Outward is your better option here. But if you preview it, you can see that I have a line going inward. Let me turn off those stitches for a second so you can see a little bit better though. Let's turn it, let's make it not sewn so you can see just the outline portions of it. We'll turn on the outline. Okay, so let's grab the outside shapes, create offset line and inward. Let's say we want to go 1 millimeter inward. Preview it. You can see how it went slightly inward. So let's go 2 millimeters inward. Or actually, I guess I wanted 3. 3 is not much, so let's try 2. And you can see how it's gone inward. So that is how that would work, and you would do it for each one. Now let's change that to a running stitch. It might look a little bit better. There, now you can see what I've done. You could do one, you can do in between numbers. So you could do 1.5. So if I didn't like what I did, I could always, let's get rid of this inset and go back. We can go 1.5. Inward and preview. That one I would like a little bit better just because of the way it is. And you can make your letters bigger, of course. It doesn't have to be specific. Now, outward is easier because you're not working quite so hard. Outward, create offset lines. You can go as wide as you want. And so this is how you get those nice big echoes around your letters. Okay. And that answers that question, I do believe. All right, let's see here. A light fill on an object like an apple in PEDESIGN. Okay. Let's go to our image and go auto punch. And I'm pretty sure there's an apple in here. There we go. I'm going to say create lines off of that. Okay. I just wanted to get something done really fast. So there's my apple. Quick and easy. Oops. Somehow I turned off the red. That's interesting. So let me undo that. Let's go back to auto punch. I must have hit the wrong button there. Yeah, I didn't mean to turn that off. Now turn that back on and say finished. I do not want that outside, so I would delete that. And let's say a light fill. You have some options. You can use a piping stitch. Piping stitch, depending on what you're working on, will depend on how well you like it. That would not be my first choice for that particular one. You can choose a concentric circle. And the concentric circle can be spaced further apart. So instead of having your density at 2, you could reduce that density down. You can also use a spiral stitch. And once again, you can reduce your density on that one. So you don't, it all depends on what you want to do. And you have a flexible spiral stitch. Not saying that would be my favorite one. Let's see if we move that flex from where it flexes from, if we like that any better. No, not so much. No, don't care for that one. You could also put in a net fill stitch. So just a nice crisscross, or you can do a cross hatch. And you can go in here and grab motif stitches if you would rather. Motifs are generally kind of nice and light. So let me see if I can find one that you would. Let's go into the program files and find them. So let's go to our C drive. Program files x86, Brother, PEDESIGN 11, and Patterns. So you can pick any of these as a decorative fill, excuse me, as a motif to stick in there. Boy, I'm having a hard time keeping that straight today. But that's a nice light fill. So really depends on what you want to do. You can come in and have a lot of fun with it. Those are the ones that I would do. Or you can make a fill stitch and reduce your density way, way down. So you can do a very light density fill stitch. And I would turn off the undersewing if you're going to do that. But you can see where it's doing that is because there's a hole right there. If you remove that hole, let's say we delete that hole, then you don't have that, but you do have that travel line. So what you could do is have it travel along the edge instead. So that's a nice light fill for you as well. Okay. Let me turn off this little banner. So let's see here. Let's go back. Let me see what other questions. What are the different paste options? Okay. So good question, actually. Very good question. Let me come in here and grab this. So if I copy this and I go to paste and I choose just, actually, wait a minute. We can't do that with that. Let's delete this and let's just do a shape. If I copy this and I choose paste, I can paste the attributes only, or I can paste selected attributes, or I can paste the whole thing. So I'm going to paste the whole thing first. Now, let's do the next one. Let's do paste attributes. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Let's do something else. Let's copy this one. Let's make those attributes something else. Let's make that a motif stitch. All right. So now if I copy this one, let's copy. And let's go click on this one right here and click on the paste attributes. Those attributes that were on here are now pasted to this. So instead of pasting the whole shape, it just pastes those attributes. Now, if I, let's see here, what is a good way to show you the next one? Let me think on this next one for just a second. Oh, I was like, why is that not working? Okay. So let me grab that and let's put another shape in here. And let's put that back to a fill stitch and a motif stitch, or a zigzag stitch. Okay. So if I come and grab this and I copy and I come down here and I go to paste and I say paste selected attributes, it's pretty much going to do the same thing that we just did. It's going to, okay. So the selected attributes, so I can either paste the line color, the line sewing attributes, the region color, or the region sewing attributes. So if I just want it to give me that fill, I can say region sewing attributes and paste. And there you go. So it's left me with a zigzag outline, but it didn't take the other away. So let's change a couple of things here. Let's change color. So you can see if I do purple on the inside and let's say we do red on the outside. Now, if I come and select this and I click paste and I say paste selected attributes, let's say I want to do line color and region attributes. So it's going to change my outline color to black and it's going to change my region attributes to the motif. If instead I don't want that, let's say I want the region color and I want the line attributes, it's going to leave my region purple, and it's going to make the motif on the outside edge of that. So it just depends on what you're doing. So I mean, it really does let you have some control there, but that's what those are. So if you are looking for some fun, if you're working on a project and you don't want to go back and find the same thing that you found before, that is an easy way to catch it. Just copy and paste it. If you have PEDESIGN 11, if you work through PEDESIGN 11, yes, the decorative fills will work with it. So you basically would design in your PEDESIGN and then save that out as a PES file to use with your Bernina. I cannot speak today. That wasn't good. Yep. Coupon code 15 off MD. So that hopefully that helps you guys out. Okay, other questions. Let me see what else we got. Thanks, Joanne. I appreciate it. I had fun with these. I really I'm telling you, I can't speak today. I really enjoyed making these. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, where I was going to go from that. Let's see here. All right, guys, questions? No? No exciting questions for me today? It's going to be a short live if we don't have exciting questions. There was a question earlier that came through my website, okay, and it was converting an SVG to an embroidery file in BES4. So I feel like I need to discuss digitizing software versus customizing software, okay? Digitizing software has the capability of converting an embroidery converting a SVG, a PNG, a JPEG, any of those files into a fill stitch design. Okay, it is a complete digitizing program, which means it can do complex things. BES is a customizing program, but it can convert things to applique. In order to get an SVG to go in there, if you don't have PowerPack, I believe it is one, you have to go through CanvasWorkspace to turn that SVG into an FCM file. Having said that, you can't turn it into a fill stitch digitized design automatically. You'd have to really work. Are there tools that would allow me to adjust the shape of different fills? Yes, there are. But that is one of those work that you would have to work very hard for. Let me kind of give you an example. So Joanne, in the collection, there's a PDF file. Let me answer this question before I forget about it. There is a PDF file in there that has the recommended sizes for your motifs and fills. So it has the minimum size that I recommend and the recommended size. Okay, so these are how I think they stitch out best, but they will sew out okay. Okay, so that is in your download, and it tells you what I suggest. Okay, I wouldn't suggest going any lower than my minimum size because you're not going to get quite the look that you're wanting. I don't know where I put those motifs. Oh, over here. So when I'm making these, I stitch these out in all the sizes. I think I start with 10 millimeters because that's the default size on the machine. So I will start out at 10 millimeters and then I will go up from there every 5 millimeters so that you can kind of get an idea of where to go with it and what size they look best. And from there, I come up with my recommendations for you all. So that's those are my suggested sizes. And I'm not suggesting that you make them in as a frame. I mean, that's not, or as a square around something, because honestly, these are not going to go around a curve that great. They are more for fun little linear projects. But unless you're trying, if you're not trying to match it up to a fill, then have at it and have fun. Because I do think, as I said last week, I do think that the pins are very fun around a square. I think they make a great frame. So if I came in and I grabbed my rounded square and let's choose motif, and let's come in and pick it. Let me find them. So mine are on my D drive. And they're in sewing decorative fills. Here we go. Oh, we want motifs. So let's say I want to do the pins. I think the pins are a blast to have around a frame. But I wouldn't necessarily put a fill stitch in it. I just think they're fun as a frame. You can space them further apart. You can flip them in and out. You can make them smaller. You can make them larger. If they come in the software at my recommended size. So I also would tell you that changing your stitch length to about 2.5 is a great idea, because then your stitches more either between 2 and 2.5, then your stitches are more consistent all the way around. You can flip them every other way. You can flip them inside out, upside down, and have fun with them. So I think those are fun. So it all depends on what you're trying to do with them. Now that one's fun. You can also space them apart. I will tell you, if you play with the offset, there's a little weird thing that goes on with motifs. So I would not suggest playing with the offset, just simply because it doesn't work that great. Okay, where was I going? SVGs and BES4. So let's say, now I have power packs, which means I can come in here and go import artwork and import SVG, but I'll do an FCM file because that's what you would have to do. So let's say we want this bone SVG to come in. It comes in as artwork, guys. So here's my artwork. Now, if I come here and I go to my tools tab, convert to applique is a no-brainer. That is super simple. If I have Power Pack 1, I can convert to a decorative fill. I would probably put a steel outline around that. But in order to get a fill stitch on that, let's undo that. Let's say I want a fill stitch on this, and I don't. Let's go back to that convert to decorative fill, and we'll delete the decorative fill, because all I can do is change my decorative fill. But what I can do, let me delete that. But like I said, this is a lot of work depending on what your design is. I can come in and I can grab an accent design that has a solid area. So let's come in and let's grab this fill right here. And then let's delete everything else from that. And that run, oops, undo. I want to delete that run, and I want to delete that run. Okay. So now let's make this a different color. We'll make it brown. You can then come in here. We can make it bigger so we have something to work with, a little bit bigger. And we can rotate it. You can go into your tools tab and you can grab your edit shape tool, and you can come in and manipulate these edit nodes in order to make that design a fill stitch. But this is not an efficient use of time. This is not where I would go if I didn't have to. If this is the only thing I've got and I'm bound and determined to get something made, then I might do this. But this is not an optimal use case for this. And I would love to be able to hide my angle adjustments here, but I can't. As you can see, I'm just kind of grabbing those squares and moving them into a position to where they can make the shape of this that I'm working on. And if my node is going sideways, I need to rotate it to where it doesn't. Otherwise, it's going to turn a corner. Now, let me right mouse click and see where we are on this. So if I right mouse click away from it, you can see it basically is taking on that shape. And I can continue in this manner until I get this filled in. Now I might delete a few nodes because Lord knows I don't need that many. And you can take and move it. So it is not optimal, but it is doable depending on how many parts you have. But everybody has the capability in BES4 or BES Blue of taking a fill stitch from one of the other designs and manipulating it to where you can get it into another shape. So worst case scenario, you could do this. And I'm about done. So if you're not a good drawer, maybe this is your thing. Right mouse click and then move it into position. So you would move it underneath the other one. Okay. And that's why you can, that's how you do it. Linda, no, Power Packs are sold by dealers, not, I don't get to sell any other software. I just show you how to use it. I have no skin in this game. So, yeah, but there's no extra with the bone this time. So there's no chance of actually being able to do this. Yes, Rhonda, you certainly can do a knockdown stitch and PEDESIGN. Give me just a second. Let's see here. And Paula, I'll show you the Zoom when I'm over there. Okay. So let's see here. Let me go back over here. We're knockdown stitch. Knockdown stitch and PEDESIGN. I'm just going to do it with text just so you can kind of get an idea. So let's say I want a knockdown stitch around this. What I would do is go to my Home tab and choose my embroidered patch wizard. Choose how far you want it to extend from your original pattern and click OK. So you can see how it's grabbed that area around it. That's 2 millimeters away, basically. Then take that section right there and select it. Turn on a net fill stitch. Change the sewing attributes to where you choose the crisscrossy one. And I usually take the spacing down to 2. That's as low as you can go. Then take that and move it up in front and embroider it in the color that you want it to be embroidered. So if it's going on a tan towel, you'd put it in a tan color, just slightly darker than what your towel is, so it blends in. Make sure you use a water soluble with it. So it's not a one-click wonder, but it's pretty darn close. All right. Controlling your zoom in PEDESIGN. You can't get it off. All right. So here's what I do. If I'm trying to get in on a section, I am one that does not use these two very often. I go zoom, selected object, zoom, and that brings whatever I have selected directly into my area. So if I want to just look at the A, I'll grab the A, go home, zoom, selected object, zoom, and it brings that A as close as it can. Then I can zoom all. So zoom, selected object, zoom, and then zoom all. That's the way I do it. Okay. Now, if you happen to get into the zoom tool and you zoomed in, it's going to continue zooming every time you click until you switch to another tool. So yeah, as soon as you pick up a different tool, the zoom stops, but it's going to zoom either in or out until you pick up another tool. Now, just so you know, if you right mouse click when you've got the minus zoom on, it's going to zoom in. If you left mouse click, it's going to zoom in, zoom out. With the zoom tool, the plus zoom, left mouse click zooms in, right mouse click zooms out. But you're going to have zoom on until you click the select tool or something else. If I click pan, then I'm in the pan tool. Can't do anything until I get out of pan. These right here kind of keep you into whatever you're doing until you get done. But zoom and selected object zoom will let you just select one item and selected object zoom, and then you can zoom right back out. That's the way I do it. Okay. All right. Embossing in PEDESIGN. Okay. I think I've done this before, but we can do that without a problem. But let's say we want to put it in an octagon. And actually, your net fill is a really good one to use for this activity. Okay. Let me come in here and go home, and let's grab a font. Let's just do the letter H. Actually, no, I'm going to do a complex letter. You know what? I have an easier way to do this, I think. Let me try something, guys, because I think I may have come up with an easier way to do this. And when I say complex letter, I mean a letter that has an inside and an outside. So let's arrange this. Let's center, middle. Okay. So now I'm going to hit background fill, and let's see if this will work for us. And we'll touch next. And I'll just leave crosshatch stripe on, so that's fine, doesn't matter, and click OK. Now I'm going to come in and grab this right here and this right here. And I'm going to change those to a net fill and go back in and make that small. Well, you're not going to let me grab everything, so let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. So now let's come in here and make that a crisscross and make it small. Now all you have to do is get rid of your A. Actually, yeah, we'll get rid of our A. And I would turn on my outline for this, for the center area. Select it and choose a running stitch or a triple stitch. I would probably do the same thing for this part as well. Select it, change it to a triple stitch. That would be your easiest way of doing embossed lettering. Okay. Kelly, that's just the way that font was created. So whatever that, I mean, if you look at typography in your word processing programs, it really is bizarre when you come to J's and S's and sometimes P's. So it really just depends on where they got that original artwork for that letter. And those are just unusual letters. Q's are kind of funky too. So, but how often, we don't use a Q that often, but Q's are kind of funky too. Did that answer the question about embossing? All right, let's see here. Let me see. Font and size. Okay, so there's not really a specific font in BES that I would suggest doing this with, and I'll tell you why. But we'll look. That may be one I'll have to look at and see. But I'm going to tell you the deal with a puffy puffy font. They really need to be digitized for puffy foam. And I'm going to show you why. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to make them bigger. Okay, let's look at this in realistic mode. We didn't lose any stitches, so we're good. We can ignore our little message there. Do you see how that ends abruptly there, and that ends abruptly there, and that ends abruptly there? There's nothing there to hold in those foam, the foam, okay? When puffy foam letters are created, they have a block at the end basically to cap those letters. And I think I did a live on this once showing you in PEDESIGN. There are no fonts that I know of in PEDESIGN that cap, excuse me, in BES that cap those letters. So you see how they all had that end bleeding out. The only way you would be able to combat that is to come in and basically do what I just did with that other. Instead of doing a complex shape, just pick something that's simple. Let's see if we have something that's here. Let me zoom out. And let's come in here, tools, edit shape. Oh, is it going to let me edit this? Yes, it will if I grab the right parts. So let's get rid of everything besides that little part right there. It'll work pretty good for a cap. So we could take this and make it smaller and rotate it. And I would change it to a satin. Apply. Now let's go here and zoom in. Edit shape tool. And basically adjust it to where it fits right underneath that letter. Right mouse click and then move it in front. So not optimal, but that's the only way you can get that to work. Now, then you would change the direction of that stitch. So that, once again, that's in your edit shape tool. And if we right mouse click, let's see here, set angle. And let's say we want to go 90 degrees. That gives me that angle line. So now that little black angle line, I can manipulate that and move it the direction I want it to go and right mouse click. So now that's going to go in the angle that I need it to go. But that's how you manipulate it. You need enough in there to basically manipulate it. And then you need to increase the density of this. So in BES, it works opposite of PEDESIGN. You really do want this tucked in, guys. So I'm kind of trying to tuck it up underneath here. It's just to keep that cap from bleeding out. Otherwise, your foam won't cut cleanly and it will pop out. So I would increase my density. To increase your density, we come up here. You go down in number. So let's say I go to 0.2. That's going to add a lot of stitches. I'm down here, 0.2. And that's how you make them to where they are for puffy foam, okay? Oh, all right, okay. I understand what you're saying. So, no, okay. You're talking about, I know what you're talking about now. We were not on the same thing. Okay, so you're talking about the mama shirt, okay? Okay, that one's easy enough. So, you could do a triple stitch very easily with any of them. So anything with an outline. So let me go out here and I know what you're talking about. Let's grab everything and get rid of it. I mean, this thing's all over the internet. So if we come and we look at a font with an O on it, when we apply that, if you look down here, you'll see Style Standard. You're looking for one that has a run. So any of the ones that have a run, you can make that run a single run, a double run, or a motif, or you can make it a bean stitch. So if you wanted a triple stitch, you've got a bean stitch. If you'd rather have a single run with a motif, you can grab a single run with a motif and you can come down through here and pick a motif. So you could have fun with that. That's a good little motif for it. So what you do is basically you would need to have one as a running stitch basically. So I would copy this and I would paste it. And the first one I would have as a run. And I would probably do a bean stitch, okay, and change that color. So what you do with the first one is you stitch it out onto a piece of stabilizer. I would probably, you stitch it onto a piece of stabilizer. Then you put your embroidery foam down there and you would do that bean stitch again. So I might do a single run for the first one, a bean stitch for the second one. So I copy it twice. Single run for the first one so you know where to place your foam. Triple stitch for the second one so you can peel your foam away. And then put your fabric down on top of it or your sweatshirt down on top of it and then stitch your motif around it. Okay. So yes, my brain wasn't connecting what you were saying because I mean, that is all the rage right now is that Big Mama sweatshirt going across there with embroidery foam behind it to give a 3D technique. And that's how it's done. Okay. And honestly, a triple stitch is fine either way. You can go either direction you want to. Giant quilt labels on quilt fabric. Larger than a quarter of an inch and smaller than a half inch. I would look at the, let's see. Let me go to, actually, let's go, oops. Let's come here and look at font categories and let's look at the small fonts and see what they have. Let's see here. Let's say we go with 5 millimeters. So that one larger than, okay, so that one's smaller than a quarter of an inch. I would go with one of the plain block styles, Joanne. All fonts. Let's see here what we got. The run fonts are not bad either. But let's go with all and let's come in here and look and see what we've got. Drake is a nice font. It's a nice clean font. We don't need it that big, so let's say we want it a quarter of an inch. And she may want to reduce the density a little bit. So in BES, reducing the density is going up in number. That's what I would do. So I would go up to like 0.45 or 0.5 for the density so that it's not as dense when you're at that small of a letter. Okay. So that should, I mean, the Drake or chalk would work. And yeah, using 60 weight thread for that size lettering would be optimal. But you still would want to change the density a little bit. And you can use chalk for sure. Let's see here. There was another question I thought I saw. And yeah, somebody's gonna have to remind me what I've packed in today because I have packed a lot in and I don't know that I remember because there weren't questions before this show started besides one or two. And Edna, which machine did your question was about doing putting names on a bookmark. Send me the design that you're looking at so I don't have to dig through my Luminaire and look. You can simply add on the Luminaire, or you can, if you're sending it, you can send it wire. I don't remember which machine you have, but you can also send it wirelessly to your PEDESIGN, import it in there, and add your lettering there if you'd like to. So, oh, a bookmark on the Scan and Cut. Huh. You once again, you can bring it up. You can send it over to CanvasWorkspace and work on it there. That's easier. You get to use all of your true type fonts and stuff. And then separate the layers. That's what I would do. Okay. So, I mean, that's really what I would do. I would bring it into CanvasWorkspace. So import an FCM file. So save it, transfer it to CanvasWorkspace, and then bring it in there. And then you can type in your text and just separate the layers. That's what I would do. BES Blue is still being made. BES 4 has been discontinued. We can no longer source the hardware for it, which was the SD card and the adapter. So the SD card really is what it is. So BES Blue is the replacement at this time. PEDESIGN 11 did not replace it because PEDESIGN 11 is our full digitizing program, and it's been in the PEDESIGN line. So PEDESIGN 11 replaced PEDESIGN 10, and it could be upgraded. No, Joyce, I started at 3:30 right on the dot, just as usual. You must be on a different time zone than I am. So, or you lost track of time today. So, if you guys have other questions for next SD card for the Luminaire, I wouldn't go greatly over 8 gigabytes. And here's the reason, because you're starting to dig through so much information, it slows things down. I honestly, the only time I use my SD card on my Luminaire is when I'm sending wirelessly from BES 4. Usually I send wirelessly from PEDESIGN or from my design database transfer. That is the easiest method of going, and that way I'm not taking a stick in and out or an SD card in and out. There is nothing I have to do. If you don't have good wireless, then an SD or a USB card, a USB device stick is the route to go. I use small ones. These are about a gig, just simply because it takes it longer to access all the memory on a big, large SD card. It can probably hold, and well, I know it can hold a 32 gigabyte SD card. It's just going to take it forever to read it. So that is my preference. The smaller, the better, simply because it doesn't take it as long to access the memory. And I'm pretty sure that's what Brother recommends. But, smaller SD cards are better. The 8 gigabyte was optimal for the Dream, and that's why the BES 4 Dream Edition software had an 8 gigabyte SD card. Could you go up from that? Yes, but that is optimal for that machine. So, all right, guys. If there are no other questions, I am going to say goodbye for the day. Oh, shoot, I forgot to remove one of these from my recording so that I could come back here later and download this one. I'm full. My memory is full here. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great one. And remember, the code for the new collection is 15 off MD, I believe it was. Yes. So MD stands for Mother's Day if it helps you out. All right. And I'm going to sit here and say this last, Bridget, to your point. Don't ask me about new machines. I cannot tell you one way or another whether there's one coming out, whether there's not one coming out. I love you all, but it's not worth my contract with brother. Don't ask me what might be in a new machine. Don't ask me any of that because I can't tell you. I don't want to lie to you. I just want to say, I'm not being ugly when I say this, but if you ask an educator, we are contractually bound, an educator or an ambassador, we are contractually bound on a non-disclosure agreement. So we can't discuss anything new that might be coming in. Okay. So whether it's a new machine or a new software or new whatever, I mean, y'all know that we release new product in the fall. Something is always coming because brother is a manufacturing company. And if they're not manufacturing something, they don't make any money. But that's the extent of what I can tell you. I'm trying not to be ugly about it, but this is like the 10th question I've gotten in a day. That I'm just want to be up front and out there about it. We can't tell you. We would lose our jobs. So, I mean, if they're not making something, they're not making money. And in order to support the product that they already got out there, you want them to be making something because you want them to continue to be in business. It's just like a car company. If they're not making a new model to sell to you, then they're not making money. So every year you're going to get something new. You just don't know what it is. Okay. All right, you guys. And I do think, in my opinion, I think brother makes an awesome machine. It is I was a customer first. I was a consumer before I started working for them. I was a consumer. So I love their products, obviously. I have multiples of them. And oh, by the way, my reliable ironing board back here, with my reliable iron is the bomb, absolute bomb. I ironed like 6 yards of fabric in 10 minutes this morning with very little effort. And Edna, you never know. It's amazing to me what they come out with. Every time we think that there's nothing else they can put on a machine, they blow our minds. So, who knows? All right, guys, y'all have a great rest of your week. I will not be on next week. I will be down at my dad's. So y'all have a good 2 weeks. This coupon code is good until next Tuesday. I may extend it one more thing. So yeah, I mean, Joanne, I love my little reliable iron. It's the bomb, absolute bomb. It's a little 270 IR. It's awesome. And that ironing board is just so great. I can get a huge piece of fabric on there and just kind of move it very, very quick. I'll be looking forward to seeing you there, Leanne. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful time, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.